Hey, Sean here, aka Wormzilla. I just wanted to give you a little preamble before I get on with the rest of the video. I'm going to try to be doing more sort of creative videos. I've always got a ton of ideas, so I'm just going to try to get off my ass and do this. If you can, it would help me if you hit like and hit subscribe too, and it would encourage me to just do more stuff. If people are watching, then I'm gonna do more stuff. I'm working on many projects at any given moment in time in several disciplines. I've got stuff to provide content for this stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hey friends, your old friend Wormzilla here. Just wanted to talk to you about the cover art that I made for the 4-way split that Ancient Temple Recordings is putting out, that features Anthesis, Grabber, Botfly, and a band I play in called Cellpress, plus really cool ambient segues in between each band by Clouds Become Oceans, which is a project of my good friend Scott, who runs Ancient Temple and plays Anthesis. It's a monster project, and I'm super happy to have been involved to the capacity that I was, which was playing music on it and creating the art for this. I did it in Procreate on my iPad Pro with the Apple Pen, or Apple Pencil, whatever the fuck it's called, that writing tool. I used assisted drawing with the function rotational symmetry, okay? Now, because it was a 4-way split, I was trying to think in terms of having it represent sort of 4 sides. The whole idea that there was 4 bands, I wanted to sort of get into that. I was trying to think of something to do that would have basically 4 sections, 4 corners. I thought, hey, this assisted drawing thing in Procreate is really helpful. I've used it for tattoo stuff and other such things. If you've got to draw something that's perfectly symmetrical, you can, when you draw on one side, it copies it mirror image on the other side, making mandalas for tattoos and stuff like that. It's really helpful. And you can break it up in all different kinds of ways, quadrants, mirror image. This was the first time I tried using the rotational symmetry function, which is great because it doesn't mirror image it. I set it up in quadrants, and basically when you're working in one quadrant, it's making the same thing in another quadrant in a clockwise fashion. We're drawing a face looking this way, the regular assisted drawing would be looking that way, but if it's looking this way, you put the rotational symmetry on, the other one's looking that way, and then the other one's looking that way, and the other one's looking that way, so that's all kind of like doing this. It cut the workload down by 75%, technically. Yes, maybe a slight drawback to that is that everything is exactly the same, and sometimes I like subtle differences, which I wish I would have included, but I did not. The only difference in each quadrant is that I put the band names in the corners. They kind of fill the negative space. When I was trying to come up with an idea for what to do, something that can be repeated 4 times, that was the initial idea. I really was going through a period of creative block, writer's block or whatever you would call that for drawing. So I kind of went to a mainstay, which is skulls. I just like drawing skulls. I like drawing them in as many different ways as I can. Over the years, I've drawn them in hundreds of ways, thousands of ways probably. I know skulls are boring. Fuck, everyone fucking does skulls, man. Especially in metal or heavy music or punk music. It's like fucking skulls everywhere. But that's where I started, because it was just gonna get the ball rolling, I drew that skull in. Then I started adding things on top of it. And then I started thinking of, I think I started thinking of the movie Akira, and this sort of wild biological appendages crazy shit just bursting out of the human body. That's where these sort of tendril things came from. A lot of people might know that I throw in third eyes a lot into my work for my own reasons. This time was no different, but I had that sort of like the eye being the ultimate end of this bunch of tendrils. And I just decided to use this rotational symmetry to sort of work out how I was going to make this really look complex. I think I was a little bit self-conscious about the fact that I was using such an overused image of the skull, because here's my thing. I love metal and hardcore and punk and aggressive music and noise rock and sludge and grindcore and all that stuff. I find a lot of the times the art in these genres of music is profoundly fucking boring. It's just the same fucking tropes over and over and over again, you know? And anytime anyone breaks from that, they catch the highest shit from people. Deafheaven as an example. You know, they did a pink or peach colored album cover, and it had some black metal kind of feel to it, and people lost their fucking minds, you know? Good. Fuck them. I don't necessarily like things where you can tell right at a glance exactly what you're gonna get. And I feel like aggressive bands using the same kind of like dark tones, monochrome, evil shit, super serious, and you know, I wanted to sort of subvert that a little bit and get out from under that bullshit. And I've tried to do that for years. You know, you can see that in my music, my bands. You know, the very first thing that the great Sabatini did was an EP called Burning Wilderness, and I had my friend Swizz make the cover for that, and which I colored. I just threw as many colors as I could in there, you know? And his art is wild. So it was like a very atypical sort of thing right out of the gate, and I've always tried to do that, you know? I made a puppet for one of our album covers. I made a diorama for our last album cover, you know? I feel like just trying to do different things with the packaging of your music is cooler. Great example right now, the most crushing album I've heard in a long fucking time is the new Yaksha album. The art on that is amazing. It's a bombardment of color, you know? Brandon Gertz, really cool artist, and it's so cool to me that a band with music so powerfully dark and punishing has such a cool aesthetic with colors and breaking away from the normal sort of shit that you have. So that sort of stuff is what motivates me. And even though I started this project with a skull, which I feel is probably the most fucking hammered in fucking thing in aggressive music, I just started covering it, you know? When I submitted this to Scott, I thought, you know, okay, because here's the moment where I gotta let someone else see it. I felt really self-conscious about it, and by that point in time, I was starting to hear the other music on the split. It's like, we got this like fucking crazy split with these amazing bands, and all these bands who are doing like crushing, super heavy music. And here's this insanely colorful, psychedelic, lowbrow, you know, underground comic book 70s sort of vibe cover, which sort of belies the content of the record, you know? Everyone responded very nicely to it, so that was great, because I felt, you know, I went too far in the other direction. I had the fear a little bit, you know? I fully admit I'm not a totally fearless artist. I'm trying to learn to be more fearless and to just sort of trust my instincts and let them go. At the end of the day, who fucking cares anyway? It's just every project that you do is helping you make the next one. I think the first version didn't have the pig part. And I was like, I need to obscure the skull a little bit more. And I think maybe Primus kind of pop into my head a little bit. Their use of pig imagery in the past. When you look at it and you try to break it down, it doesn't really make sense. I didn't want it to actually have a logic, I didn't want it to have an airtight logic. I wanted it to have a sort of dream logic. There you go. That's kind of what was motivating me to make the cover for this. Getting to work with these bands and with Scott at Ancient Temple is always a pleasure and an honor. You know, like this whole thing started with it was going to be a split between Antithesis and Cell Press, and it kind of just blew up, you know? And I kind of wanted the art to reflect that too, in a certain respect, because it was just starting to get crazier and crazier as we were going, you know? And somehow it was not really that, I mean, I can't speak for Scott, but it wasn't really that hard to make all of this work nicely. Here it is, a fucking disgusting slab of ugly music that is super beautiful, and I'm really, really proud of. It's one of the things I'm most proud of that I've worked on. So thanks to everyone involved. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for being interested in the project. Thanks for watching this video. Take her easy.